Billy, a week ago we put out a poll asking you guys at home how you predicted the Wings would do this week when facing Seattle, Winnipeg, and Boston. Well, unfortunately, we did not have 2-1 as an option, and I really don't think any of us saw that outcome coming. And actually, the only close option we had was 0-3, which only 1% of you picked. So really, even in our worst, it really didn't feel like anyone saw that coming. So what I want to do is I'm going to separate the Wings start to the season into 2 weeks. The Devils game to the Sens game as week 1. Let's just call that part 1 or week 1. And section 2 being the Flames game to the Bruins game. So most recently being the victory over the Flames and then this current week. The question that I asked to you, the listener, and Billy, so please at home, or if you're listening on the podcast, which you can find us anywhere you listen to your podcast now, feel free to jump over to the YouTube tab and jump in the comments and give us your answer to this question. Which of those 2 weeks do you believe is more likely to be the real Red Wings that we have this season? The opening Devils loss all the way up to the Sens win, or the Flames victory to the Bruins loss? Which of those is more likely? And in the middle is not the answer. I know that is the answer, but in this case, I want to know which is more likely the real Red Wings that we have this season.
I want to say the middle so bad because it just feels right. But if you made me pick one, I'm going to go with the first week. I'm going to go with an offense that can click, a power play that can do very well because we still saw that connecting a bit. It just wasn't finishing in this second week. And I'm going to put a lot of speculation into, I think there's a team bug going around. Man, how slow we were against the Jets, I think it was. Or no, was it the Kraken? Either way, both nights we looked slow. But one of them, when we were watching, it was actually obnoxious. I'm going to look into a team bug going around. I think the report on DeBrincat having it.
Is this 100% Billy speculation?
Billy speculation. Okay. I'm going on. Sure. DeBrincat almost missed the game to being sick. You've been in hockey locker rooms. There's no way one person gets sick and the other ones don't get it. Even
I've never been in their hockey lockers, man. Fair. They got a lot more space than we did growing up.
I mean, you're still sharing the water bottles and. You don't know that it's coming on when you're contagious. You don't necessarily know it.
Wait, is that even true? Don't they have their names on their bottles too? Don't they all have their own bottle? I thought they did. Maybe some do when they have like a special mixture or something like that. But I'm
gonna lean towards the first one in that this last week was a bit of a Billy speculation team bug, hopefully going around. But I also want to stress, I don't expect us to keep over 50% power play percentage. I don't want to say we're going to continue to do that. I think it's going to continue to be the key to why we do well. I think that our power play is a big game setter over a lot of the competition that we have looking for those wild card or very low seed playoff spots this year. So yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, then that's again, the middle is the easy answer. So the core of the question is which of the two sides do you believe it leans? Do you think that what we saw last week is the true Red Wings where, okay, it was a cute start, but we're nowhere close? Or do you believe we lean more toward the early start where, Larkin and DeBrincat are looking pretty legit and everybody on the team seems to have their role? And hopefully the full Billy speculation is true. And this was just a weird week because we did the watch alongs this week. We couldn't do one for the Bruins game. We couldn't even really watch most of the Bruins game. But the games that we did get to watch and we did the watch alongs for, it just felt slow. For whatever reason, it just felt like it did not look like the previous week, not just on stats or performance overall, but even on the game that I still believe we should have won against Seattle, which we already, on our last video, we already dove deep into the stick throwing. We won't go as hard into how awful that was. But as much as we still should have won it, it still didn't look great. It wasn't great hockey.
I mean, it did for, a period or so? I mean, when we really, late second period to middle third period, maybe you would say that we were...
They put their rally caps on, and it looked a little bit different for a bit. Yeah,
we were dominating them, and then just our own silly penalties. I know that there's been a lot of discussion on how valid those were. I mean... I'm sticking to my guns. I've watched them again and again. They're penalties. They just are. But in that game, I do want to say, and this is going to be, I think, our first criticizing of this player so far this year, I didn't like what I saw out of Husso. I just didn't for almost that entire game. The first goal off the backboards, it's happened a couple times now, but this is the first time it's burned us. He doesn't keep the puck back there. He doesn't put his paddle to the goal line outside of the net to block it back out. He lets it bounce back out front.
I do remember that.
I think that players aren't necessarily used to that, especially on defense. Like, the shot misses the net, and sometimes it makes it way back in. Like, we've all watched, the Joe Louis boards. We know how that can go. Goalies are supposed to adapt to that and not let the puck make it back out front so easily. Then a fluky goal ends up going out in front. That can't happen. You can't let that puck get there. On the second shot, it's just a head-on slap shot between the face-off dot in the top of the circle. It goes low glove just above the pad. I want to stress that is a good shot, but it's also one you expect to save. It's kind of what we saw out of the advanced Husso stats coming into this season, is that it's high chances that he saves. And I heard Ken Daniels, I was so lucky. I think it was against the Bruins where I was just kind of listening in here or there. He said that Husso has the 6th best, high scoring chances save percentage, which is what we expected. That's the clutch number right there. That's clutch stat. Okay. Yep. Where he's weak are expected saves. That falls under expected save, I bet, on the advanced stats meter. So Husso didn't have a great game. We still are the reasons why we lost. I'm not going to pinpoint 1 or 2 possible bad goals in a 5-4 overtime loss as to why we lost that game, but we do need to recognize Husso could have been better.
Speaking of being a 5-4 overtime loss, it was our first chance seeing the Red Wings and what they would look like in an overtime situation. How'd you feel about that?
I hated it. I absolutely hate our overtime strategy. You control the puck no matter what. No matter if you have to turn back around because you're getting pressured near your blue line, you do it. Possession is king, and it's what you saw the Kraken do.
I think we can agree that the puck possession in a 3v3 is more important than just about any other factor. You'd rather hold the puck the entire time and go to a shootout than have them control the puck in your zone, your half of the ice. I feel like we have the players to do what you need to do in overtime, whereas in years past, I don't think we did. So that's why I was kind of surprised to see some of the early shots after entering the zone. And I know you want to get pucks on net in overtime, but in overtime, it's not even really a pucks on net situation because you don't have the bodies to cover just about every rebound. In overtime, you're kind of looking for that video game glitchy backdoor goal because, again, you don't have extra bodies for those rebounds. And if you cough up the puck, you've got to have someone back.
Yep.
So just firing it and giving it to them or having the puck wrap around and suddenly they're on the rush the other way is really dangerous when you only have 3 guys on the ice. And I was a little frustrated to see them shooting as early as they did. And then when I saw the Kraken holding the puck, the Kraken were willing to leave our zone, regroup, get a line change, come all the way back in, all for the sake of not losing the puck. And when I saw that, I was starting to get flashes of previous years of where okay, we just don't win in overtime. We just haven't figured it out yet.
Because on top of that, the big thing to remember is that they swap sides. You have the long change of the second period. So when you have a defenseman that has to cycle around in the defensive zone, and it looks like they're not skating very hard. I get it. You're still skating. You're still skating for a minute out there.
You're skating after having played a full 3 periods. So it's not like your fresh legs gliding. You just played a whole NHL game. And now in these guys you have on 3-on-3 are probably your top 1 or 2 line guys.
Yep.
So they racked up the most minutes in those. These guys are tired.
Yep. So when you, as the team possessing the puck, take it back out of your zone, guess who's not going to be able to change? The opposing defenseman. So people like Cider and Ghost, suddenly they're staying out there for 2 minutes, possibly more, if you just possess the puck properly, which is what the Kraken did. And the Red Wings fan booed it. And I understand it's not exciting. What they brought 3-on-3 to do.
It started with what they wanted. It was very exciting back and forth rush. And then teams got conservative with it. And now it's a very slow paced style with an occasional rush. So
time to go 2-on-2.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you take that OT, you look at the next game against Winnipeg, where it felt like the whole game, and we were saying this during the watch along, and any of you out there who were at the watch along, I'm pretty sure we were all in agreement. It was just really slow hockey.
Yep.
It was not exciting. It was a very boring game overall to be either fan at that point. And it was just slow and it just looked bad. It was hard to watch and it looked like, and the thing that all I could think about, I mentioned it a couple of times during that watch along, was that we just had the same break from our last game as we will for our next game. So if this is how we look against Winnipeg, it's not looking good against Boston.
Yep.
So at the first period, I already knew this is going to be a bad week.
The core of what went wrong is that to beat Winnipeg, they are a defensive-minded team. They are tough and they have a stout goalie. You have to be able to pass. You have to be able to break into the zone neatly. We don't. This last week, we straight up don't. We're dumping pucks around the boards. We're losing them there. We're losing board battles there. And guess what that is? That's exactly the Jets game. So when you give up 2 goals in the first, guess what you're seeing for the next 2 periods? Trap the entire time. And if you can't pass, if you can't forecheck hard enough on those when we're already looking slow, you're going to lose. And it felt like it was over after the second goal. It felt like watching old Red Wings of, hey, Jimmy Howard gave up 2 goals. We lose. I understand we're 8 minutes into this game. This team right now is not capable of beating that. And what sucked is that Hellebuck was the goalie that you had to beat. Shout out to Hellebuck. I want him on my team so bad, Josh. I want him here so bad. I wanted him to come home. He was our off-season, like, ooh, maybe. Signs a, 7-8 year deal with Jets now.
He got his bag. And you know what? Respecting as like a goalie, totally respect it for how much they could be hot or cold. Get that bag right now before your career, for whatever reason. Let's say you're just not the same goalie in 2 seasons. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say was the few opportunities we were getting. Hellebuck just looked good, just dependable.
Yep,
always where he needed to be, aggressive with playing the puck in the defensive zone. He was a third defenseman, and a lot of times where we thought we were gonna have time, we didn't.
Yep,
Hellebuck was extremely solid.
Yep, even like our best scorers, like DeBrinket's trying to find the little corners that you can typically find around the ears on other goalies. Guess where that is? That's here on Hellebuck, okay? An ear on an average NHL goalie is the shoulder of Hellebuck. It's so tough to beat that guy, but the one way we did, scrummy. Don't let him see it. It's how we started the game. We tried getting shots through a bunch of traffic. Raymond ends up finding that rebound, and it looked good, but we just couldn't get it to happen again. And on the other end, Josh, there was a lot of public criticizing of Reimer. And I'm going to say I'm incredibly surprised. Yep. I couldn't believe what I was seeing because, we just keep Twitter up on the side while you're watching to see some of the other opinions of people that you respect. And
we see what some of you were saying.
Yeah, we see you guys. We search the LGRW tag in the middle of the game to see what fans are saying. Reimer was getting roasted. Reimer unjustifiably getting roasted.
Yeah, I feel like the goalie is just easy to target when you give the first 2 goals. A lot of people they're looking for someone to blame, and from that respect, I get it. Not everybody grew up playing a lot of hockey or watching a ton of hockey, so from that respect, I get it. You gave up 2 quick goals. Whose job is it to stop it? The goalie. Must be the goalie's fault. Not true. Reimer has looked solid, and the goals that have gone in, it's not Reimer coming out here and sucking. And believe me, this is coming from 2 guys that in the offseason we were like, Reimer?
C-.
Reimer?
Little under average, little underwhelming.
Okay, I guess
we got that Lion guy, right? How's Kosa looking?
Yeah, and Reimer has not been bad.
No,
he's actually been really solid. Not someone you want playing 50 games for you.
Yes,
but in the times he stepped in, it's been really solid. So it really sucks that on the other end of the ice was freaking Hellebuck, because even when we were having good opportunities, we just could. I really do feel bad for a goalie like Reimer in that situation, who did what he could in a very tough to win situation for him.
Yeah. So I want to just break down each goal to back this guy up. I'll criticize Husso earlier. When I see bad things, I'll criticize. When I see good things or unjustifiable, I'll be, you know what? This is going to be part of the weekly recap. I'm going to just go in on people that I think deserve it and defend the people that don't. But on that first shot, we played so lazy in the defensive zone. If you watch the head down view of the goal, the entire movement of red jerseys and then just one white jersey finding their way out to the slot, it's actually so irritating to see that happen because they all know better, but our feet just weren't moving that night. So then the shot gets taken from the slot, high quality opportunity. By the way, everyone would love to be able to shoot from there. And then on top of it, Sherratt, not his fault, he's playing defense, does end up blocking the view of Husso, and the shot's perfect.
Reimer.
It was a snipe. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Reimer. It was a snipe. So no, I'm not going to hold Reimer responsible for that one. Play better defense. Don't block the vision of the goalie. And hey, maybe other guy, can you just miss the net for us? Anyways, second one, completely broken play. A pass across the front, ends up hitting a skate, stops right at the Winnipeg Jet player. Guess what? Reimer's following the pass like a goalie should. He even stops himself. He even reacts to it as well as he can. Open net for the Jet player. Third one, perfect passing. This is the one that I saw some people giving him the most heck about, I'll say. He could not have really done too much else. The passing was perfect. It beat a total of 4 Detroit sticks. It beat Mata, it beat Sprong, it beat Ghost on the first pass across. Then it beats Ghost back on the other way, and it's just an empty net again. They had 2 empty nets, one on a broken play, one on a perfect play.
Yep.
What is this criticizing of Reimer? I don't get it. The guy has played well for us. It feels like the Detroit scapegoat of all time, and I was guilty in the past with Osgood of goalie did bad, that's why we lost. Straight up, no, not true.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I hear it with a lot of fan bases. I feel like it's just easy to point at the goalie because no one's out there for more goals than the goalie. So that's who you're always going to associate with it. I wish I could say things got better against Boston, but thankfully we were busy and unable to watch most of that game. But from what we did get to see, Bruins are just a better hockey team.
They just are.
And they stayed good. They lost players, stayed good. And I don't know how that works because I know when we lost players, we got bad.
Yes.
So
very
I don't know when that's gonna happen for them. But and I know this is kind of out of order. I want to get some positive in here because this feels like a stink fest right now.
Yeah.
Veleno looked sick. All right,
yeah,
screw it. Let's just take a moment here. Let's have a moment of positivity because when you have this bad of a week, there's not a lot of positive things to talk about. Veleno's off to a great start.
Yes.
And we're just going to throw it out there. I knew it was coming. Billy didn't believe.
Hey.
I don't look back at the old videos. Definitely don't because you don't want to prove that I definitely knew that 9 games in, Veleno would already be second on the team with 5 goals. One goes off the knee, fine. You know what makes up for it? The Datsukian style deking and shot that he had against Boston, where it looked good. That was a skill goal. There was no luck involved there. That was a skill goal, and you can't. I know it's like people have like their feelings on a player, and you kind of want it to be true, but you got to throw that aside. It's okay to be wrong about a player on your team when you thought they were going to be bad.
Yes,
because we were very wrong. We had him on all the healthy scratches. We had him. He wasn't making half of our lineups that we were throwing together, and he's come out and he's shown to be an effective player in the team. He's a +3, which is solid compared to the rest of the team. He's up there with everybody else. He's got 6 points, 5 of those being goals, and a few of them are these are real hockey player goals. I can only think of the one that was just off the knee. Yeah. So I just want to here's some positivity. Veleno is being a surprisingly positive and good force for the team early in the season.
I will say I asked for one thing. I wanted to see him get better at this year, and he has surpassed it with the goal scoring, but I asked for better faceoffs. I thought he was brutal in the faceoff dot, and that's why I was scratching him. That's why I didn't trust him even as a 4th line center. I value faceoffs a lot. He's at 55% right now. It's early. It's not a huge number. It's still 55%. I'll tell you what, if I saw 44%, I'd be critical. So if I see 55%, I'm going to praise. I'm going to be as fair as possible when it comes to evaluating these wings. And yeah, Joe Veleno making me eat my words, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy to be wrong.
Let's just throw this out there as well. Just for easy comparison, he's at 5 goals in 9 games. Last year, he played 81 games, had 9 goals.
Yes. So when you talk about like, oh, it goes off the knee and like you want to still provide that credit, you have to. because at the end of the year, we don't remember that. We simply look at 9 goals in 81 games, and I couldn't tell you last year if he scored a goal like he did against Boston. I also couldn't tell you if he scored one off the knee. It simply
anyone
comes
could have been
down.
standing there.
Yeah.
Anyone could have been standing there. It was Veleno.
Yeah.
But that could have been anyone's knee.
I know a lot of people say it as a joke of like they don't ask how, they ask how many. It's actually true. At the end of the year, they don't ask how anymore. When you go into contract talks, Joe Veleno isn't going to go in and say, hey, I know I scored 21 goals last year, but the one did go off my knee, so it's really 20. And Steve Yzerman isn't going to do that either, okay? Like, Joe Veleno playing very well. Good source of positivity here for this video. I like it.
How much do we want to say about the boss? I feel like we've already kind of pooped on the week. To be fair, we didn't actually get to watch most of the game. We only really got to watch the highlights, so we shouldn't waste too much time just talking about what we only saw small clips of anyway.
Real quick bullet notes, just kind of talking about each goal because that's kind of what we watched. A failure to dump the puck on the first goal, and then it breaks down in front of our net again, similar to Winnipeg. Can happen. Get the puck out. Like, if you're on the PK, dump it out. Make sure it gets out. If you're even strength, pass the puck out. Let's please just start connecting on some of those. Second goal, weak defense from Ghost. One hand out, not moving your feet. Josh, I'm sure you got yelled at plenty for that.
You yelled at for a lot of things. I wasn't a very good hockey player, Billy.
But what irritated me after that is, are we just going to let them shove Husso in the net? Like, I understand they scored, and then he gets shoved in the net with like a pitchfork, and everyone just kind of accepted it. I'm not old time hockey guy, punch that guy in the face, but don't let that happen.
Just a little punch to the face wouldn't be the worst thing. You know?
I mean, maybe it puts us on the PK again. I don't know. Third goal. I have not looked close enough, but I'm gonna just put it out there. That looked like a weak penalty shot call. Pasta sold it with my hand. It hit my hand. I don't think it did. I think it like got like here, like on the stick, like his glove. I don't believe it makes you go like that. It did not seem like one to do that whatsoever. He sold it, but afterwards, Pasta's nasty, man. That penalty shot was sick. Poor Husso. Poor Husso.
I do feel bad for Husso there.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to score on 99 out of 100 goalies.
All right, so overall, not a great week.
No.
Let's start looking forward. Let's have that be the last we talk about of last week. Let's look forward to the next week. We're going to New York, coming home from Florida, and Boston's coming our way over the weekend. So while we get into the nitty gritty here of these upcoming 3 games, throw it down in the comments. If you already left a comment from the prompt earlier, just do another one.
Another one.
Just another one. That's all. That's fine.
Another one.
Maybe let's hope it's not an 0-2-1 kind of week. Let's do some sort of a prediction down there, and we'll make a post for it as well, and we'll see if we get a better week out of it. But heading to New York now, I know you believe that the Islanders are a similar style team as Winnipeg.
Yes.
Is that bad news or is it good news? Because if that bug is gone, maybe that extra step is something we can beat. Maybe a more, again, we have no idea if the Wings weren't healthy. Billy is completely talking out of this, but just in case, if the Billy speculation is correct, if they're healthy and feeling better next week, and maybe they kind of got woken up a little bit, what are we thinking?
Oh man, this team, they play so well defensively. Like, I know you said they, like the Jets, they really are. They're just a trap team. So if you fall down early again, it's going to be really tough to do that. I would like to believe, and I'm going to put the hope out there, that we do come out and we're able to score 3 goals. Because I feel like if you score 3 goals, you are likely to beat this team. They only have a 2.5 goals for per game. Yeah, of course, that means sometimes they get over it, sometimes under, but they also almost give up 3 goals a game at the same time. They're 4-2-1. They're a positive record. They're a team that many believe, I don't believe, I think they're on the down, will be competing for that wild card spot with you. So these points absolutely do matter. Their goalies are performing super well. Both of them, I think, have over a .915 save percentage right now. Varlamov coming off a shutout. Sorokin, I believe, had a really good night against the Senators. just a few nights ago. So I expect to see Sorokin. Varlamov played the last game. They don't have a star. They're just a team. They don't have anyone with more than 3 goals in the 7 games. So it is a bit balanced, which is what we say the strength of our team is in general, is that we have good depth, that we trust our 3rd and 4th lines to be able to perform, and that we don't have to just lean on our top line, even though that's kind of what we did over that first week. They were clicking super hard, but you can see it that this team should beat the Islanders. We absolutely should be able to go into New York and beat these guys. And I think this is a good opportunity to do that. I don't think that this is a very good team.
So, Bill, you're stamping it as a dub.
I'm going to put the stamp of the dub, yeah.
Stamp of the dub. So we're taking the dub against the Islanders.
Yes.
Which, by the way, that's the Monday game, right?
Yes.
We'll not have a watch along for that one, but we will. We are planning on having a watch along for the Thursday game against the Panthers. So if you guys want to be there for that, make sure you subscribe below so you get notified. Make sure you join the Discord if you want to talk about the team between now and then. We are doing the watch along Thursday here on YouTube. Now, the Florida Panthers game, it's a little bit of a bigger game. So it's one of those games where there's a little bit of stakes involved.
Yeah.
Not that the Boston one didn't, but the Boston one, you already had an idea where they were going to finish anyway. But a team like this, someone you might be competing with if you still believe that this team could be a playoff contender. It's a divisional game, so it's one of those games where you really don't want to lose because you're putting the points back in your own division, not in your favor. What are we looking at against the Panthers?
An incredibly balanced team. Right now, their goals for and goals against the same at a 2.86. I think that's not too common, but they are probably the strongest on paper offense, not necessarily just statistically. That will go to Boston for the goals for, but this team, they're good. They're solid, balanced team. Sam Reinhart, 7 goals in 7 games played. Kachuk, you can't put him away. You can't just ignore him. He might only have 1 goal in 7 games, but he still has 7 points in 7 games. He's a pest. And I think that we're gonna
That's the Kachucks.
Yeah, I think similar to Brady, we might struggle a little bit because I just see Matt as a better Brady. So I'm nervous about facing him. Bob and Stolars, both over 900 save percentages. So maybe we're going to face playoff Bob, and we know what playoff Bob can do. I would love to see us really compete with these guys. This would be one of those games similar to Ottawa and similar to Pittsburgh, where I could easily see it going either way, but I just want us to show up. So okay. I'll put, I don't know, can I put like an OTL here? Like,
sure.
Okay, I'll put an OTL.
So you guys said 1-0-1.
Yep.
Between the Islanders and the Panthers.
Yep.
That brings us to next Saturday. Playing the Bruins again, but they're coming to our house. Now, to be fair, again, we didn't get to watch the whole game. They didn't get obliterated on the scoreboard. For a good portion, they were down by a goal. So I don't want to say we don't have a shot. And we might feel even better after we play the Islanders and the Panthers. You go into that Bruins game last week after your 2 previous games, you feel like, well, this is not good. But if we would have played the Bruins 3 days after we play the Senators, different feeling, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we go into this week, maybe we put a couple good games together against the Islanders and the Panthers, we feel a little more confident. Now, assuming Boston doesn't slow down, assuming Boston is Boston, and we're all going to be miserable for another hockey season watching Boston constantly win, looking and expecting them to be making some sort of push, seeing Marchand all over the place as usual. What can we expect?
I think we're probably going to see exactly the same thing. I think we're going to see a very good hockey team against a hockey team that's rising, and I don't see Boston slowing down. I would anticipate this to be another loss, but I'm okay with that. You're going to lose hockey games, right? I think that we're probably going to lose that game. I think afterwards, Derek Lalonde is going to be able to come out to the media and say they are exactly who we thought they were because we just faced it last week. This is a really good hockey team. I think that we're just hoping to eventually through this season grow to a point to be able to beat them.
I respect it. Myself, this is a 2-0-1 week. We're going to come out. We're going to bounce back against the Islanders. We're going to look pretty good. It's going to be a regulation win there. We're going to come home against the Panthers. It's not quite going to click. It's going to be a competitive game, maybe 1 goal, maybe even OT. Or that's what I'm kind of predicting would be an OT. But generally speaking, I think that's going to be the one we lose. Hopefully we get the point. And if it's going to happen, it happens in OT. But more specifically, I'm thinking we're going to have a bounce back game against Boston. I think we're going to have, a week later, we've played the team once. I don't think Boston's going to think about us much between now and then. And I think the Wings are going to think about Boston a lot between now and then. I think it's not based on much else other than hope. But I just believe that the Wings can be better than what they were this last week. I think we've seen them be better. I don't think it was a one-game flash in the pan that we saw. So I'm hoping they come out and have a pretty solid week. And I think next Saturday at home, I think we're going to have the advantage. Probably going to be a one goal, maybe an empty netter kind of game. But I think we're going to come out. We're going to beat the Bruins next Saturday. And the next day, we're going to record this video again. And we're going to be like, okay.
Stanley Cup.
Yeah, favorites. I think this team can compete. Throw what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. We are doing, like I said, we're going to do another watch along this week. We're going to do it for the Florida Panthers game. That'll be on Thursday. So make sure you subscribe so you get the notification for that. If you're listening on the podcast, we appreciate you. Thank you to all the members that have been supporting the channel down below, and anyone who's been given any sort of love and support during the watch alongs. We will see you either on Thursday. If you're not there for the watch alongs, we'll see you for the midweek video. Till next time. See you guys.